We recently got a $2.8 million grant from the federal government, which will come in stages over the next few years in conjunction with our engineering company, CPC Engineering, and Edith Cowan University to look at building our pilot plant. That's a key goal for us in 2025 after the PFS.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Impact Minerals Managing Director, Mike Jones. Mike, very good to speak with you. You've just announced a maiden measured resource for your Lake Hope high purity alumina project in Western Australia. Before we delve into that, for viewers not familiar with the company, tell us a little bit about Impact Minerals.
Yes, certainly, Stephen, and great to be here on Proactive. Yeah, Impact Minerals, we are a development company developing a project here in Western Australia. We're listed on the Australian Stock Exchange under code IPT, and we're coming up, in fact, to our 18th anniversary of listing at the end of this month, so an auspicious time. And our flagship project is the Lake Hope High Purity Alumina Project, which is located about 500 kilometres east of Perth here. And high purity alumina, for those that don't know, is a niche mineral, but a critical part of the energy transition that we're going through. The two key uses are in LEDs, so light emitting diodes. So most lights that are going in nowadays all have a piece of HPA in the form of a sapphire wafer in there. Also in semiconductors and a wide range of smart glasses and sapphire glass. And then the second one is as a separator in lithium-ion batteries, where it prevents heat buildup in particular and basically stops the batteries from exploding. And we've all seen pictures of the Tesla cars on fire, and the separator is not doing its job in that case. So those are the two main uses of that mineral.
Mike, so the company plans to revolutionize HPA production with cost-effective mining. Tell us a little bit about that.
Certainly. Well, the Lake Hope deposit is in two small salt lakes, which are very widespread here in Western Australia. They're dry for like 8 months of the year. And in the top 2 meters of that lake are a unique set of minerals, which are relatively very easy to dig up. And basically, it's just a small quarrying operation. We'll need no on-site beneficiation. We'll be able to use renewable power. And the idea is to dig it up and move it off-site to a processing plant, which will be here in Kwinana, the industrial area of Perth. As a result, we'll have a very low environmental footprint on site, and we believe that that will allow a rapid granting of the mining lease. We've already done baseline environmental surveys and heritage surveys with the local Aboriginal group, the Naju, and there are no impediments to mining at the lake. So it's a unique deposit, and as a result of that, the chemicals that we need are relatively straightforward, and the process is also straightforward to get through to HPA. Now, I wouldn't want to underestimate how difficult it is to make high purity minerals, and when we talk high purity, we're talking 99.99% pure at the minimum threshold. But we believe that our process, combined with the unique deposit, will give us one of the lowest operating costs globally for HPA.
So you've announced a maiden measured resource of 730,000 tonnes at 25.8% alumina, and that's for a contained 189,000 tonnes of alumina. Encouraged by what you've come up with so far, Mike?
Certainly, Stephen. And thanks for remembering those figures, because that means I didn't have to quote them. So that's excellent. Yes, look, the measured resource there is part of a much larger resource, which is about 2.5 million tonnes of ore containing 700,000 tonnes of alumina. So we've only converted a relatively small portion of that into measured. Now, the significance of measured resource, it means that we've done enough drilling and enough work on it to be confident that the deposit is there and it can be mined, and significant that we'll be able to convert that into what we call an ore reserve statement once we add financial economics to that, and that's publishable on the ASX and indicates that we have a financially robust project. So the 189,000 tonnes that we've already defined will really just be enough for production for the first, say, 15 to 20 years, which is more than enough for the financial modelling.
So, Mike, you're targeting a pre-feasibility study for the first quarter of next year. What are the steps you need to take to get to that point?
So the pre-feasibility, I like to call it a jigsaw puzzle, and there's 4 pieces to it. At the mine, we've already discussed the nature of the deposit, the environmental work that's been done, and the heritage surveys, and we've recently lodged a mining lease application. So that is all in train, and I don't see any significant impediments there to getting that license granted by late 2025, and early 26. The second part is the process plant. We've just completed design engineering studies for a plant that will produce a benchmark 10,000 tonnes per annum of HPA. That's the benchmark, the baseline that we all use in the business. And that will actually generate a project that's got a current NPV of 1.3 billion Australian dollars and a tremendous after-cash tax flows of about $150 million a year. And really the pre-feasibility study is designed to firm those numbers up. The last two pieces of the jigsaw are test work. That's always ongoing. We're refining the process that will go into the plant, producing 4N, and we've just received a research grant, which we'll talk about, to help with that test work. And finally, marketing. We've just employed a marketing manager, and he's doing all the groundwork relative to getting us offtake agreements for next year. So those are the four things. That'll all come together in the first quarter of next year.
Mike, you mentioned that research grant. You've also got an R&D rebate. Take us through your cash runway as you move forward with Lake Hope.
Yep. One of the great things about Lake Hope, as I said, it's only 2 meters deep. The drilling and assaying costs basically next to nothing compared to, say, a 10 million ounce gold ore body, which is probably this is what this is equivalent to financially. And we recently got a $2.8 million grant from the federal government, which will come in stages over the next few years, in conjunction with our engineering company, CPC Engineering, and Edith Cowan University, to look at building our pilot plant. That's a key goal for us in 2025 after the PFS, and that will then give us material of consistent quality and in quantity to give to clients. So with that grant, and we also get 43% in the dollar rebate from the Australian Tax Office for R&D, means that this will actually be one of the cheapest feasibility studies ever. The pilot plant research project will give us all the information that we need to complete our definitive feasibility study sometime in 2026. Again, looking towards production in 2027. So look, we're well funded to the end of the PFS in the first quarter of next year and beyond. So it's all going very well at the moment.
Well, Mike, I hope you'll keep us updated on any progress. Thank you very much for the introduction today.
Thanks very much.
That's Impact Minerals Managing Director Mike Jones.